Hi, Joe Cerrone.
And Alan Rosen.
Welcome to CAD 116 Basic AutoCAD and your weekly Zoom classroom meeting. This week, we're working on Module 2. Module 2 is the number 1 PDF assignment in either the mechanical or the architectural drawing. If we click on the lab link right here, this is the architectural lab with the dimensions. Here's our PowerPoint going through different things like how to draw lines. And the mechanical drawing. It's a little bit small, but that sometimes happens when we convert things over to digital format. It's still workable. So the assignment for this week is to complete the number 1, which is our general design assignment. And as we talk about these things, the general design assignment is just what it says. It's just a very basic way to use CAD. And the number 1 is an assignment that uses coordinate input. And so basically we just draw this object with these rectangular coordinates. Seems a little blurry to me today. Maybe it's just my resolution of my monitor. But as we go through, we have what's called absolute coordinates, relative rectangular, and relative polar. Most people will use either absolute or relative polar. And if you're in manufacturing and you're using digital manufacturing devices, very often they'll use these absolute coordinates because that's how you tie the CAD geometry to the machine coordinate system. So as we look at this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to start a new drawing, and then we're going to go through and enter these coordinate entry points. And so we can go back here to AutoCAD and we can just say File New. This one doesn't need a template. You could certainly use one. ACAD right here is the default, so I'll choose that. And then I like to change my background screen to white. So what I'll do is I'll right click, I'll go to Options, Display, Colors, and this is 2D model space, and the color is currently black, and I'll change it to white because it's more like a piece of paper, and then when I use certain colors, they show up better. So that's that. We're going to say okay. And then as we look at the number 1 exercise, I'm going to move this over on my screen so I can try to have them both on. Takes me a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to start off on layer 0, and we're going to start off with the line command. And you guys can see my screen, right? So you can see, or Al, you can see it, right? The coordinate at the end of the drawing?
Yes.
Okay. What I like to do is I like to make the layer properties active so that I can make a heavier line weight. And I don't like the way they make these toolbars float all the time, but we'll work with it. So the color right now is black. If you want, you can change it to blue or whatever color you like. And then for the line type, that would be continuous, which is fine. And then the line weight, this is where it needs to be thicker. And so when we used to draft with a pencil, we would set these up at 0.5. The standard now is 0.6. So they're getting away from the pencils and getting more into just straight up CAD. So I will go with the 0.6, and this is by ASME Y14.2. It's a standard for CAD drawings. So we'll say, okay, now that I have a layer set as blue and a line weight, when I draw, the lines will be darker. And so providing my line weight button is on. Oh, it's not on. So we turn it on here and we select line weight, and then line weight needs to be on, off, on. Much easier with it on. And I don't need the grid for this, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to erase this and delete it. So the first exercise, and I'm not going to make this Zoom meeting too long, at least for the introductory, is to start off by entering the coordinate entry. And so you go line, and then the first point, 2, 1, enter. We'll go to that coordinate relative to the origin itself, which is 0. And then I'll go to the next point. And so what I'll do is I'll type in down arrow, £sign. And that didn't work, so I'll hit escape. So I'll type in £sign. And when you type in pound, I don't know why they changed this, but they did. Now it works with absolute coordinates. So I say 2, 4, enter. £sign, 3, 4, enter. £sign, 3, 8, enter. £sign, 2, 8, enter. £sign, 2, 10, enter. 3, 10. And so it's the X coordinate and then the Y coordinate. Pound, 3, 11. Pound, 3, 5. 5, 11. So I have to bail out of it. So I'll start a line from the endpoint. Shift right mouse click is an O snap. And then I'll say £sign 3, 11. And then I'll say £sign 5, 11. And I think I repeated the last number. Whoops, not working. So 511 should be directly in the same y-axis. And so since this one is at 11, it should just go 5 units to the right. And so I'm not sure what's happening with it as far as that goes. But if I go this way and I just go and say £sign, let's say, I think it's going to go relative to the way it is. So I'll say at whatever this 511 one is. So at 2 angle 0. And let's see if I can pick that up again. £sign 5, 4. Yep, picks up now. £sign 6, 4. £sign 6, 1. £sign 2, 1. So the last one didn't work. I almost had it, but line, I can set it up for endpoints. And this is the first assignment. And so you'll save that. I typically tell students to save it with their initials. It's actually lab 2A. I think it's called 2A. Is that right, Al?
That's correct.
And if you use your initials, it's great. I'm going to put this somewhere I can find it. And so I'm in my CAD 116 directory. I'll save it. And then you'll submit that to the Dropbox. And so you'll come back here and you'll go to your D2L. You'll go to your assignments folder. Let's view this as a student. Assignments folder. And this will be assignment 2. And then you'll see the instructions. We use the same rubric: completeness, graphical accuracy, proper design rules, dimensioning, and CAD usage. And then you can just add your file here. So I can go and add it. It's quicker to drag and drop it if you have your files open. So here's my file. I'll open it and I'll add it. And then I'll submit it. You can always add a note, as we've talked about before, and we'll submit. That's part one. If we come back here to our main page here, part two is going to be creating these other shapes right here. And so if we look at some of the videos in module 2, you'll need to go to the content and then over to 2. And then basically, if we look through this, mechanical drawing, interior fundamentals, the assignment is split into 3 categories: general, mechanical, and architectural. And then you choose either one. Fundamentals link goes to OctanCAD. I'll look at that later. And then here's your architectural lab. And then here's the YouTube video on how to complete the architectural lab. We walk you through. It's an older video, but it still works quite well. And so it walks you through how to do the floor plan, how to use layers, how to put the chairs in. And one thing about the chairs is that you do need to download them. So if I come back here to the chapter 2, we have put the chairs in here for you, or at least a chair. So you can download that and you can open it. Now, I want it to open in the current version. Hopefully it's not going to go and do something weird. So let's see what happens. Oh, okay, I'm all right. You never know when you push that button. So this one's been modeled. It's a 3-dimensional chair, and we start off in 2D. So if we look at the viewing commands, one, we can change it to conceptual. If you want to see what it looks like in 3D, you can look at some of the other display styles. I'm going to go back to wireframe. I'm going to go to a top view. And then as we draw it, what we're going to do is we're going to download the title block from D2L. And so here's the architectural title block. And so we'll download that and we'll open. Ignore any warning here. It's nothing to worry about. Middle mouse wheel is a pan function. And then we draw these in model space. And so the title blocks are frames, and this is what's considered a viewport. To draw them, we go to model space and we can start drawing it here. If we look at the assignment, we need the dimensions for it. And so you can go and select the PDF, and I'm going to download it so I can put it next to my computer, next to my drawing screen. And then I'll kind of work my magic here to be able to see my dimensions. So here I am in this drawing. And the important thing about the drawing, if we go to units, is that it is an architectural drawing. And so as we go through and we start creating this drawing, if I put on a grid, I can kind of see where the coordinates are. If I put on a snap, I can set the snap units to half an inch, which is pretty fine. Let's go with 6 inches for the snap. And this would be the inch mark. You don't need to put the inch mark in here. You could just put in 6, but since we're new at this, we're going to show you exactly how it works, 6 inches. And that's my snap increment. And so you think about it, 2 snaps would be equal 1 foot, 6 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, 6 inches, 24 inches. And so it works really well. And then what we'll do is we'll start a line and we'll just take it from here, track it this way, and we'll say 18 apostrophe feet. And then I'm going to go up and I'm going to go 16 feet. It's okay if it's not on the grid. I'll show you how to fix that. And then if I go this way, 18 feet, and then C for close, what I'll do now is to go and look at my wall layer and see if I have my line weights on. Ah, there it is. Just need to turn on my line weight button. And then what I'll do is I'll increase the limits. That's what's holding it back. And so if I go limits and the bottom left is 0, 0. And so I'll hit enter. And then the upper right is 20 feet, comma 18 feet. And it's not quite enough. So let's make it 30 feet. Or let's go 25 feet, comma 25 feet. 25 feet, comma 25 feet. And think of this as just like the lawn, the grass. Okay, the house is going to be on the front property, and this is the floor plan for it. And all that does is it puts the grid to within that area of the limits. And then what we'll do here is we'll offset the line. Let's see if it tells me how much to offset that. 6 inches. And so we can come up here and we can say offset 6. And then we'll create the construction for the drawing. I like to use fillet with a radius of 0 instead of trim because it's faster. And so the radius is set at 0. And then if I fillet, it corners it. And there are faster ways to do it. But you don't always want to be fast in CAD. You want to be accurate. And so there's a balance. If you go too fast, you'll make errors. And then to get the chair, what I'll do is let's put the table in first. I'm going to offset 7 feet 6 inches from the interior line. So I'll say offset 7 feet 6. And I'll go over this again for the classroom people. But right now we're in our Zoom meeting. And then we're going to do the same thing this way. And then we'll draw a circle with a diameter of 72 at that intersection. And you'll need to have O-snap on for intersection. .72. I can erase my construction lines. If I want to be more perfect, I can put these on the proper layer, furniture layer. And let's make the furniture layer active. Let's get a chair. To get the chair, what we'll do is we'll say edit, copy with base point. Now, if you don't have the menu bar on, like I do here, you have to turn it on. And to turn that on, what you need to do is you need to push this little thing here. Whoops, not that one. Here. They look the same, don't they? I tell you, I had to spend a lot of money on training just to find these little buttons. And I think they did that on purpose. So if I hide the menu, there it goes. If I show the menu, there we go. Edit, copy with base point, select the object to copy. And I'll show you how to turn this off too. I do not like the lasso. So I select the object, I hit enter, and then I give it the base point. And it looks like I missed the base point. Let's try it again. Copy with base point. And it wants the base point first. And so I'll put the base point, shift right mouse click at the midpoint right here, and then I'll copy it and hit enter. Then I can go into my other drawing and I can paste it. So I can paste it right here. And then what we'll do is we'll array it. And it doesn't matter if it's at the 12 o'clock position or at the 9 o'clock. It's fine. Nobody's going to get in trouble over putting the chairs in the wrong place for this assignment. We go to the home screen and we go to the array function, polar array. And what we'll do is we'll select that, hit enter. We'll give the polar center. And then we'll tell it we want 3, 6. And so we have 3, 6. This looks terrific. And so we'll apply it with the green check mark. It's associative, which means that we can continue to modify it, but I really don't like associativity. I'd rather have the chairs act individually. So I usually turn that off, green check mark. And then each chair is its own chair rather than a unit. All right, and then the last part of it is to draw this table over here and to put the dimensions on it. Those are in the video. So let me show you where that video is again, rather than do all this over and over and have a bunch of videos. So back to the arc. And then if we come back up to our assignment, we have our architectural YouTube on how to draw that. And so I go through all the details on how to draw it, but you can see I use the same technique. I offset the interior lines and then I find the center. I show you how to create the table. The chairs might be a little different in here. Let's see. Yeah, looks the same. All right, so that's the architectural assignment. And if we come back to the chapter 2 in the labs, I'll go through the mechanical lab in class. There's already a recording for it. Here it is right here. Here's the drawing. And then if I come back to the mechanical, and I like mechanical, I mean, that's my thing. I used to design construction equipment for Komatsu and ITW. Here's my YouTube. And so I'll walk you through how to do that. Place the dimensions on there. But for those of you that are in class today, I'm going to just go through and teach. Back to the main splash page. And let's wrap this up. So for our short 10-minute Zoom meeting, which is probably more like 20, you are to work on the chapter, the module 2 assignments. Do the number 1 and choose either the mechanical or the architectural assignment. Al has released module 3 information also. That we will go through next week. But if you'd like to work ahead, that information is also available to you. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to open things up for questions, and we're going to teach it in person.